First project we got is this 1968 Malibu. You know, you guys are gonna restore a car, fix it up. You're gonna spend money on a drive line, you're gonna paint it, you're gonna do an interior. Before you get that far, do like Sam's done to his customer here. Fix the wiring harness. It's 50 years old. It wasn't great when it was put in at the factory. And you know, we found all kinds of things like these splices. Didn't even have, somebody twisted wires together. This is extreme. Didn't have any tape on it. The bulb sockets are no good. You don't want to ride down the road and have 50% of the stuff you put in the car work when it wants to. How's that bulkhead connector?
The bulkhead connector looks pretty bad. Like you said, it's 50 years old. It's got a lot of green oxidation on it. And you know, your voltage is only as good as your ground is. So it's very important that all this be working correctly.
And those bulkhead connections have always been a source of problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a brand new Painless performance wire harness in this car. And our buddy Dennis Overholtz is here. He's going to show us what we got that's very specific to this car.
I brought you a brand new, just released 1968 complete plug-and-play Chevrolet harness.
Awesome. Look at it, it's got sockets and connectors, it's got the whole thing. Huh?
The whole works. Even got the courtesy lights, the whole 9 yards is in there.
And you get a great set of instructions, they got a great book, and not only is it thick, it's got it step-by-step color, it's got the diagram, it's got all the tips in it. But here's the original bulkhead connector, and if you look close down here, you can see it's got corrosion. These things were a real source of corrosion. I've seen them leave people on the side of the road, they lose ignition or they lose lights, so don't mess with that. And you got a brand new connector on this, and I notice it's bigger.
It's bigger because it's a little bit later model bulkhead connector, all the factory style pins, but there's more of them. That way the customer then can add all the accessories they want to add and not have to modify the harness.
Okay, so now we've got the harness laid out. I've got the dash harness here. I've given the engine harness to Dennis. I've got a tail harness right here. And the kit comes with a pretty comprehensive instruction sheet, but we all know that projects take a long time and none of us finish it when we start it. So it's a good idea to take a bunch of pictures of your project so that maybe 3 or 4 weeks down the road you come back, you know where everything is gonna go. Also, it's a perfect time that while you have the car apart to check all your switches, like the headlight switch, the ignition switch has been turned 10,000 times. Also, the kit's going to come with all new sockets, so it's a perfect time to put all new bulbs in as well. It comes with new flashers, fuses, zip ties, comes with both insulated and non-insulated crimps so that you can use them per the instructions tell you to. Now Dennis, in my shop I'm always fixing ground issues. Okay, that's the biggest problem when it comes to building any car or diagnostics. What have you done to alleviate that problem?
One of the things we did, Sam, is all the ground wires that are necessary for the car are now incorporated into the harness. So once you install the harness, there'll be a ground tab that needs to be, attached to whatever. It's all there, and just plug it in and it's done.
And you guys want to make sure that when you install your grounds, to make sure you scrape off any paint at the point where you're going to screw that ground point down so you got metal contacting to.
That's a real good point too, Sam. Another thing that we do is, in case I'm not sure about this wire, whatever, we label every wire. It tells you where the wire goes to and the connector. So it's really easy, plug and play, ready to go.
There you go. I'm going to go ahead and install this. You give that to Sam and let's see if we can get him to do some work.
Okay, so what we have to do is lay this out. We'll go ahead, and by the way, we're not going to finish this today. We've got a couple other projects. We're probably going to come back to this next week. You're going to hang around for a while?
Absolutely.
We'll do some fishing or something like that.
We'll do something.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start passing this through to Sam, and we'll start laying this out. We'll follow the instructions, and it's just going to go together real easy. We've got a lot more coming here at Sam's Garage. Stick around. When you're putting your bulkhead connector together, it's secured by this bolt. Read the instructions. You want to tighten it tight, but you don't want to over tighten it. Also, included in the kit, you got some dielectric compound. Use it. You got all brand new terminals here. If you put the dielectric compound on the terminals, when you push this together, it's not going to corrode. It's going to protect what you're putting together. So this goes down in here. And by the way, the instructions tell you there's a couple of holes from the factory. You need to open them up a little bit with a drill bit. There's really nothing to it. And then this will go down in here. Now, I've also, following the directions, laid the wires out. This is the harness right here. Now this harness comes like this, and it's all neatly put together from Painless with tie wraps. but you want to put something on it to cover it so it doesn't abrade and so on. This is awesome. It's split. It's got plenty of memory, doesn't it?
Oh, it's great. I mean, if you have a bulk in the wire someplace, it'll just expand around that bulk and just fit real tight.
And of course, we laid the wires out according to the instructions. You get plenty of wire. These are marked. This is our tack pickup and coil power. Here we have the original stator feed, and it's probably a 14 gauge wire, but this came with a 37 amp alternator. That's fine for that, and an external regulator. When you're building these cars, you're going to put 100, 110, 120 amp alternator on it. You need a bigger stator wire. This also comes in the kit. This kit's really complete. This is 6 gauge.
6 gauge.
That's heavy.
It's heavy. It'll handle anything you put on there.
All this comes in the kit.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've got what? This is pretty soft.
Yeah, it's a real nice new boot for the back of the alternator. Makes it nice and clean.
Right.
On there. So, you know, first thing we'd want to do, we've already stripped the wire. We'll put this on here and slide it on there. And we got a 3/8 strip there.
All right.
And our boot back. And we have our terminal. But before we put that terminal on there, let's talk about terminals just a second.
Okay.
All these terminals are made on a machine and it's rolled. So when you have this terminal, there is a split because it's just started out with a flat piece of metal.
Right.
So it has a split where they roll it together. So when we dimple crimp this terminal, which will put a dimple in it to secure the wire onto the terminal,
right,
you always want to make sure the dimple is on the back side of the split.
Sure. And that's also true with your insulated terminals.
Correct.
We're going to use heat shrink, so let's put this on next.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. We're going to put our heat shrink on.
So we'll put it in here. Dimples on the back side of the split.
There we go.
Feed that on there like that.
Right.
It comes out perfect on the end right there, Sam.
Yep.
We'll put a little force on it.
Hey.
It's on there permanent.
Absolutely. And that makes a really nice crimp. You put your heat shrink tubing, take your heat gun, and then of course this will be ready to go the back of the alternator. The kit comes complete with this MIDI fuse, which is 100 amp, and of course you even get the screws to secure it.
Sure.
So what we're going to do is, where this is coming off of battery power, we're going to fuse it. All right, let's go ahead and make this up. I'll start mounting this on the other fender,
okay,
and then we'll go and see what Sammy's doing inside.
You see that I've already got the wires ran back here. I've got everything connected. What we've done is ground off the metal to get down the shiny metal to have a good ground. I've got that connected. I'm going to make sure that it's tight, just a little snug. And then now I'm going to go ahead and take my wire loom, and I've got the bigger one, and I'm going to go ahead and loom the wires.
Yeah, that'll make it look nice.
Absolutely, and it protects it.
Yeah.
And once I'm done looming it,
Who knows what they're going to put in the trunk later on,
you
right?
never know. And then you want to tie it up out of the way. So what do you think? We did a good job?
Yeah, it looks very professional. Obviously, you've done this before, Sam.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you coming down.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's always
couldn't have
great
done
to
it
come.
without
Always
you.
great to come visit and have a good time.